Yay.
What do you want?
I can breathe.
Yes, you
I'm
can.
here.
Hello, friends. Welcome to
Hello,
D&D Night with the Bad Decisions Club. That's these folks over here. I suppose I count as part of the Bad Decisions Club as well, since I'm the one that makes them make all the bad decisions.
It's a team effort.
Welcome. That's right. It's whatever night it is. Tuesday, right? Yes. Time is meaningless. Welcome. I said that already. It is time for us to go ahead and do some quick introductions. We've got a lot to do. I can hear that I am both audible and visible, so that's good to know. Thank you very much for checking in on that.
Hello.
Yes, you should all be audible now. If you're in the chat, please do say hello, but at the moment, we're going to go ahead and say hello to our wonderful players. Today, we're going to go ahead and start with Gail. Who are you playing today?
Hi, I'm Gail, or Olivia, she, her, and I am playing Echo, the monk, cleric, goblin. Echo is he, him, and I'm looking forward to tonight. Echo's looking forward to it. We'll see if it pans out.
Is that down? Oh my god, I have not heard from you in forever. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome. M, who are you? Who are you playing today?
Oh, I am M. I am one silver key, pronouns they, them. I will be playing Lou the dog and also the owner.
You know, the PC.
Yes.
And also the owner.
You can see Lou in the bottom. You can see Lou in the bottom corner.
My subscription goal doesn't seem to be going up, so we're actually at 13 out of the 20. So that's unfortunate. But if I do get to 20 subscriptions by the end of this stream, then at the end of the stream, I will eat this chip right here, which is a very bad decision, which is perfect for the game. So if we do hit 20 subscriptions total, I'll go ahead and eat this. Thank you very much, M. Jen, I know you're still wrestling with character sheets. Who are you? Who are you playing today?
I'm Jen Winterrose, also known as the Swedish Geekball, and I am playing Kritha, my goblin ranger / rogue / cleric.
We will talk in a moment because last game we talked about the level 9 power-ups for everybody else, but you were not present for that.
I was unconscious.
We will definitely talk about your level up in a little bit. But first, Jeff, please tell the wonderful people who you are and who you're playing.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Jeff Holland. I play Calder Creed, our resident sorcerer and toothpick from a sarcastic giant.
Oh, also, Jeff, you can't say that the TikTok filter didn't name you the main character now.
I have no idea what you're referring to.
The TikTok filter has spoken.
I was saying, Calder probably thinks he's the main character.
That said, yeah, probably. Yes, check me out at Still Tired and Angry at TikTok if you want to see what the hell we're talking about.
And I, of course, am Rob, your illustrious GM, playing everybody else this evening, which is going to be a very fun task tonight. As said before, we've got a few bits of housekeeping to talk about really, really fast. A couple of bits of mechanics. We got to talk a little bit about Kritha's level up. Then we're going to do the recap. Then we're going to jump into game. It's going to be super duper fun. We have a really nice little surprise for you during the recap, so stay tuned. But first, I want to really quick make a very, very fast mechanical judgment. This is a thing that happened a few sessions ago, but I wanted to make sure that I said it on stream so that everybody understands how this sort of works. Yeah? When I make a ruling on a spell or a mechanic or something like that, I want to be transparent about it. A few games ago, Calder attempted to turn a werewolf into a tadpole or a seahorse or something like that, in an attempt to drown that creature on land. Would have worked. That said, going forward, if something does drown in the air and is reduced to 0 hit points as a result, they would return to their original form. So if that had worked, and it didn't because the thing was a shapeshifter, but if it had worked, it would have immediately started drowning, and then the moment it got to the 0 hit points, it would have changed back into a werewolf. Just something to throw out there. Now, Jen,
Yes.
You just said something about Kritha.
I did say something about Kritha.
Now, Kritha was unconscious the entire last game, kind of like you were. And let's talk a little bit about your choice for level 9. We don't have to go too deep into detail, but I do want to tell the wonderful people what you've been doing because we've got some serious multi-classing on our hands.
We have made a decision, and I do say we because this was helpful with other people, that Krita has added a level of cleric due to her involvement with Durgaden. And the last thing we really saw of her while she was conscious was her dropping Durgaden into the forge as the in his weapon. He had, I believe, changed to an axe or a hammer as his final form before he dropped.
Yes, and then the hammer actually melted away into the forge, which is not the way forges normally work, but that's the way it happened. Kistral, welcome.
Soup.
Kistral, welcome. I am keeping track of subs myself because for some reason my in fact I may as well just make that invisible. I'm keeping track of subscriptions because if we get to 20, I'm definitely eating the chip. So we're at 14 right now. Yes, so specifically the Forge domain. And I think not only is it a very good thematic choice because, as you said, Kretha and Durgaden have really gotten to know each other really well, but also I love the mechanics of it as well. I know that you've been wanting to get your hands on some cantrips, so now you've got those.
I keep forgetting about cantrips until I remember because my other character has cantrips, and I'm like, I don't have cantrips. And it's just it's nice to have cantrips.
They are nice.
So let's talk a little bit about last game. Last game was pretty intense, all things considered. Oh, are you kidding me, Jeff? Okay.
I have decided you must suffer.
I will suffer. Why is my... For some reason, I'm not getting my... Wow, we're just all kinds of messed up. Here's the alert box. Boom. Boom.
You had
There.
the alert box shut off because you were doing karaoke.
Oh, that's right. Okay, well, the alert box is back on now. Thank
my
you very
Lord,
much for all those
yes.
subscriptions. That's ridiculously generous of you, and I will absolutely be eating this chip at the end of the game. I don't feel
Why
like crying
not
at the
now?
beginning of the game. We're going to do it
We
during
need-
the post-game show, so those of you who are here,
We must be
make
able
sure
to
you
talk.
stick around so that you can watch me suffer.
Oh no,
No,
we
I'm gonna have
can't do that
911
during the
dial.
post-game show. I won't be here during the post-game
Don't
We
worry,
will
show.
clip the
it'll get
shit out of
clipped.
it.
It's definitely going to get clipped. And Kistral has redeemed a advantage or a +5 to the next D20 roll by a PC. Please remember to use that because I will forget to remind you.
I think we have a
Psychonthrope,
+2
welcome.
left over from
Lionar,
last
welcome.
time, too.
Oh man, the whole gang's here. This is amazing. I love it.
Is there technical issues right now, Psychonthrope?
No, I think he's referring to the fact that my my alert box
So
wasn't
that everything
working.
is a nightmare?
Yeah, everything's a
Gotcha.
nightmare. Okay, so recap. Last time, last time was when you entered the forge. No, that was the time before.
Was a T-Rex. We started
right,
with
you
T-Rex.
started. Okay, so we started with Echo as a T-Rex, which was a
Yes.
holdover from the end of the previous session, and Echo was kind of stomping around and exploring while everyone was talking. Kretha, as we mentioned, was kind of unconscious the
Floating.
entire time,
So
and
is the man
you
of
put her in a nice safe place. You know, stashed her away in a closet somewhere.
You put her in a closet.
We did that after we took a long rest, and then there were enemies at the gates. Like, we didn't
Yes.
put her in there and then sleep somewhere else.
So we absolutely put her in that closet. We
So
like lean her up against the forge, put a blanket over her, and that's fine, I think.
yes, at the end of the previous session, you had sacrificed your Durgaden weapon to the Forge of Fury, which allowed his spirit to sort of flow into the forge and allowed him to take control of the forge and the iron golems protecting it, which is what ended combat at the end of that session. So this time, there was a long rest, and at the end of the long rest, Durgaden sort of woke everybody up saying, hey, there's something you probably want to pay attention to, and you found out that there were enemies at the gate, as it were. You utilized a number of perception checks and illusions and Thomas's expertise in order to determine that there was a group of Grey Dwarves herding a bunch of rust monsters toward the Forge of Fury, probably in an attempt to disable the Iron Golems and move on from there. Echo, absolutely just pure either bravery or foolishness, just walked right out. And in fact, this is where the surprise happens. So our wonderfully creative and talented animatics artist, Gail here, put together a very short 4 to 5 minute little animatic of what happened before combat broke out, but after the long rest. So we're gonna watch that really quick. I hope you enjoy it, and then when we come back, we will finish up the wrap up, or we will finish up the recap, and then we'll move on into game. Here we go.
The pre-game wrap up.
Yes.
Remember to mute us.
I will, probably. The question is, will I remember to bring you back once we're done, right? So we'll see. All right, here we go.
Have a use for this.
Durgadin will sort of dim all of the lights for a moment as he thinks. And he says, yes, actually I do. That piece could mean that I don't have to leave Andoril after all, not at this time.
Oh. So it's a piece of metal with some of the old magic still in it.
It is possible I will be able to, shall we say, secure the forge, and then, with that, return my consciousness to a weapon so that I can continue to help Kretha. Yes, maybe, perhaps. I'm still learning.
We will do what we can.
So Thomas is going to come forward, and he'll say, these old ears don't quite hear like they used to. Can anyone pick up what they're saying?
Okay, Calder will nod. He understands a couple words and phrases, but he doesn't speak Undercommon.
Thomas looks to you and says, is there no way you can let me hear what you just heard?
You can try to say it out loud. What you heard, right?
He will use Minor Illusion and recreate the sound.
And Thomas thinks for a moment, and he says, well, I have bad news and worse news, and some good news. The bad news is they're definitely here for the golems. The worst news is they brought rust monsters.
What's a rust monster?
It's exactly what I would use if I wanted to kill a pair of iron golems. It's ingenious, really.
But what is it?
A rust monster is a creature that eats rust. It does this by turning metal into rust. I mean, it's a rust monster. What do you think it does?
Any metal? Echo looks down at his adamantine foot knuckles.
No, yes, adamantine should be immune. I don't know of an adamantine monster, but anything that's ferrous, and he looks over at the iron golem, says, would be fair game. The good news is, like Durgadin said, they're not making any mention, at least in the moments that you told me, or that you just showed me. They don't seem to be preparing for a fight with us. They seem to only be preparing for a fight with the golems.
So?
If the Dwergar do not know we are here, then that's something we can play with.
So once everyone is made aware of the potential that something is happening on the other side of the door, I need active perception checks from everybody. So you know they are not a big fan of bright light. You know that they have the ability to go invisible, and that they have the ability to grow larger. And you know that if they have set their sights on this place as a thing they're going to work on, they have to be very, very strongly told that it's only going to mean their destruction, or else they're going to keep coming for it. Iron golems are not going to stop them.
Echo will frown before walking up and pressing his ears to the door to listen better.
So with a 14 on perception, you hear what sounds like animals shuffling around, probably somewhere between 10 and 20 feet away from the door. There's definitely something like right on the other side. And there's still the faint noise of people talking. And with a 14, there's a fair number of folks over there. Like, you don't have a guess on how many, but there's a fair number of folks over there. They clearly brought force to take this place.
Hey, Durganin, let me open the door.
Very well. I think I can make the golems leave this room. Their original intent was to stay here. I may be able to have them go out with you, but I'm not certain at this time.
No. Leave them here. Let me open the door.
They move to the sides.
Echo opens the door enough for him to walk out of and slips out the door.
The room is crowded. not crowded, but there's like you open the door, the first thing you see is a gray dwarf with a long wooden pole, and attached to the end of that pole are 4 like ropes that lead down to leather collars around 4 what look like beetles with long tails. I also want to note that the Dwerger's armor looks like shit. It looks like these things have definitely gotten some nips off on the Dwerger's armor.
Echo is not being sneaky. He's not trying to hide. He purposefully walked through the door, like he's even half waving. And then he walks out there and he says in Dwarven, "The golems aren't a problem. There's no need to fight."
Oh man, do we need to go to initiative immediately? Yes, everybody, big round of applause for Gale. That was so fun. That was so cool. I know that took a ton of work, and that was amazing, and I loved it. The combat after that was, from an in-character perspective, relatively quick. It wasn't a super complicated fight, despite the fact that there were a bunch of people involved. If I recall properly, first off, Echo kept trying to talk them down while getting punched in the face by a Dwerger's hammer. Vic managed to stop that from happening by bodily lifting one of the Dwerger up and simply saying stop. And then Calder more or less took care of the rest by dropping a massive sickening radiance spell into the room, effectively destroying all of the rust monsters and severely injuring a couple of the lower level Dwerger. And
it also helped that it neutered the Dwerger primary defense of I go invisible.
Yes, and it also kept anyone from going invisible. Now, there was a small minor issue where a Dwerger actually turned into a drow after being hit by the sickening radiance, and then used some sort of teleportation spell, since invisibility wouldn't have worked, like Misty Step or something like that, to get away once they were recognized.
They didn't actually. You rolled for the concentration. The on our combat tracker it said drow, but they never actually dropped they made their save for keeping their illusion up, so the characters don't know it was a drow.
I actually do. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the video again, but I'm pretty sure that the second time when the drow started its turn in the radiance, it then took sufficient damage to lose its concentration, I think. I'm pretty sure about that. Doesn't really matter. It's probably a throwaway NPC anyway, which means you're all going to see it again and again and again, I'm sure. Is there anything anybody wanted to add to the recap before we move on to the game proper?
There was the detail of Echo grabbed the one dude who had dropped and moved him out of the radiance, and the last thing he did was cast Spare the Dying on him. So he's not dying, but he's not conscious yet.
He's still unconscious, right? One of the Dwerger was kind of on his hands and knees in the radiance, and Echo braved the radiance to dive through and take him to safety, which I'm sure will have nothing but positive consequences for everybody involved.
Just wanted to clarify. He's safe. He's not conscious.
Well, I'm going to save my opinions for in character.
That's entirely fair. And in fact,
if we murder him, it's a coup de grace, and then it's an auto crit.
I did want to ask, Vic, how long does the enlarge last?
I think it's a minute. Checking my spells.
Because we only did 2 rounds of combat and then a little extra, so I don't know if
it's concentration up to a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll start off with the enlarge still active, but very rapidly, of course, it will expire since you're not in combat any longer. And in fact, we are starting today in the same kind of hazy, in-between conscious-unconscious place with Kreitha and Durgadin, except instead of a massive hangover from booze, we're probably looking at a bit of a magic hangover, and that is where we are going to start our story today.